What's good, everybody? Welcome to Moments with the Mobleys. I am your man, Johnnie Deirdra.
It's the baddest, Deirdra, his wife.
And we something like an ordinary couple.
With extraordinary purpose.
Greetings, salutations, accolades, and blessings. I'm going to take that from her because she knows she takes it long.
Greetings, salutations, accolades, and blessings.
You can't say it. I already said it.
Okay. I guess I need to turn those notifications off, huh?
What notifications?
That you heard it say or whatever.
Put your phone on silent.
Yeah.
So come on, how was your day?
My day was good.
So
how was yours?
It was good. So me and my wife was speaking about something, and she always try to flip stuff on me.
Mm-hmm.
So, as it gets cold, as an African American, you get a little ashy, skin be dry, so you ain't got that moisture, the little sweat beads, the moisture. So yeah, you get a little ashy. So I told her I was gonna hire someone to put lotion on me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just my back and my arms and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
so I could be doing other things, so we can use our time wisely. Now, I wanted to get a female because she be getting ready for work, and I don't need no dude in there,
Mm-hmm.
seeing my wife while she, walk, you know, bra and panties, whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody in the room will be comfortable. She don't seem to agree.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right? You don't agree?
No, I don't.
Okay. So those applications that I put out to put resumes in, y'all go ahead and cancel that. I don't need it again. She's not gonna let me get a lotion. I think it was a lotion extraordinaire.
Uh-huh.
A lotioner extraordinaire.
Oh, okay. Well, we're never doing that.
Okay. So I'm pulling that back off. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't ever worry about it. Ever.
She gonna try that. Talk about. Well, can I get somebody to lotion me? But I was gonna say that's fine until she talked about, well, I'm gonna lay down, and he gonna lotion me. What you got to lay down for? See, that's the part that's gonna get you in. That's the part gonna get you in trouble. What you laying down for?
How?
Now we got a problem.
Why is there a problem though?
Because you laying down.
Okay.
So I get up early. That way I can lotion you.
Okay. Well, great. I welcome it. And I'll get up early so I can lotion you as well, baby.
Okay.
That'll work?
Well, if both of us lotioning each other, I don't know what time we gonna get to work.
Why? Why? Why?
What'd you say? What'd you say? This ain't the night version. Not the night version. You trying to start something.
You crazy.
Oh. Y'all, we just playing.
You're crazy.
I'm not gonna hire nobody.
And eight.
Because not only will my wife have something to say, but them little miniature hers gonna have something to say too. So
who's the miniature? Tell him.
Your clan.
Exactly. My clan, my daughters, right?
They're our daughters.
Right.
I think I still got two of them that daddy's girls. Sometimes they flip back and forth though.
Exactly. And they gonna tell you, Daddy,
three,
that ain't right.
Them other three though, they ride. They ride
until the end.
Oh, they ride. It don't matter, what mama say right.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
But my junior.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I got So who I thought was, so it was Paige and Bridget when they were younger.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany, Brittany is like she was she was at same she was just like me.
Right.
So I didn't see, but the other two they were daddy girls.
Uh-huh.
So um, Paige, I think she's still a ride for daddy girl. Bridget, I think she flipped back and forth. But I think I still got her on the strong part. Brittany, I think she's still good. But that oldest one and that baby girl,
Mm-hmm. You think they gonna flip?
oh no, they ain't gonna flip, ever flip. Them jokers right there. Now they
Ah,
love me with everything now. They love me with everything.
right.
But yeah, we be having some of the conversations we be having,
Uh-huh.
they be.
That's funny.
But daddy, what did you do? What? I said your mama slapped me. Well, what did you do to get slapped?
They trying to make it work
Yeah, that's what
because
they
they
do.
gonna take my side.
Yeah. But we try not to put them in positions to take sides.
Right, right.
But
But
we
I don't
got
think we
very,
ever
very,
do that.
very intelligent young ladies. So they yeah, it works out. So speaking of all this stuff we talking about. So we talking about sacrifice tonight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, sacrifice.
Oh, sacrifice.
Mm.
My Lord.
So I got a question. Do you feel like when you're married, the sacrifice part of it has to happen?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. Within the marriage.
Why?
Not every day, but at certain times, yeah.
But why?
Why?
Yeah.
Um, just because, just to be realistic in the marriage, or just to be honest about, what I've experienced in our marriage, it's a necessity because we are human and because we're flesh, we don't want to sometimes. We don't want to do certain things. And that's why it's called a sacrifice
Yeah.
because we don't want to do it. And so it
So
is called. It is for me. I know you've done it. I've done it, but we've done it. It's not just one ended, if that makes sense.
yeah.
I have made sacrifices as well as you've made sacrifices.
So let me ask you this:
Okay.
what's so what is your sacrifice? So has your sacrifice changed from when we first got together to now? And how do you feel? Do you feel different when sacrificing when you was younger than you do now?
I do. I do. There is a difference. When when we first got married, I think because of course we had a relationship, we were building a relationship, you know, we were still children, so um I think I was more a little bit more selfish then, you know. If I had to choose between selfish and selfless, I think I was still leaning a little more on the selfish side. Um, and so it kind of took me a minute. I mean, I loved you, and I would think that wanted to sacrifice, but I think at times I found it a little harder. Um, Only because there were parts of me that were still, immature, and I really didn't understand what that meant, and sometimes didn't want to actually sacrifice it. I mean, the truth is we're human, and so there were times when I didn't feel like I needed to, if that makes sense.
Okay. That's when you was young.
Yeah, younger. Of course, now, um, I know better. Um, I know that when I sacrifice, that's a part of me showing you that I really do love you, that I care about, your needs. Um, so to do that actually has helped our relationship, if anything, you know? Um, and because I know that you would do the same for me, and you have done the same for me. Not that I do it just because you've done for me, but I know your heart for real now. You know mine, and so now it's a no brainer. You know what I'm saying? And this is I'm not thinking about it. I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm not trying to see, if I feel like it, or I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it. And like I think we shared um earlier this year that we in that moment learned that there are things that we have that we sacrifice, and I would do it in a heartbeat. I would do it all over again, um just because if it comes down to doing something for you that needs to be done, needs to be done, versus me having to sit over here and think about if I'm gonna sacrifice, my time, or if I was supposed to be doing something else. There's no question in it now, if that makes sense. Before, when I was younger, immature, didn't really know what marriage really entailed, and there are going to be sacrifices and different things like that. Before I knew all that, I wasn't even like all the way willing to be, to sacrifice. But things change. You learn, you love, you grow, and all these things. And if, like I said, if I had to do any of it all over again, I would. I know that you would literally drop everything, and you have. Well, you, you. I don't think that was a sacrifice the other week when you had to come and get me from work, but you know, you. There are times, and I was reading something today that says that sacrifices, of course, doing something for another person, your spouse, for a certain amount of time when you actually maybe had something else to do or could have been doing something else, but it requires you to lay that down for a time to do what needs to be done for your spouse. In this instance, we're talking about marriage. So yeah, so absolutely, I would do it. Um, while we're here, just taking a quick pause to let you know. Um, Thank you for being with us tonight, watching. And if we've ever done anything, said anything that has helped your relationship, we want y'all to go to subscribe and like and share our YouTube page, Moments with the Mobleys. We're on social media, Facebook, YouTube, as I already said, Instagram, Twitter, um, TikTok, all social media as Moments with the Mobleys, except for Twitter. On Twitter, we're Mobley Moments. So, also, if you're new, hit like and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to our pages so you can follow everything that we're doing. We also have a Mob Stars group on Facebook as well as Patreon. And the links is in the description below. So we just want to take a quick second to say that. But back to sacrifice. I know when I sat and pondered about what this meant. Um, and I was reading some things before today, just when it came down to thinking about sacrifice. I know that you've done a lot of it in this marriage. You've done a lot of
Sacrifice.
it. Yeah.
So, if I was to ask myself the same questions that I asked you
Hmm.
when I was younger, I hated it. So when I was younger, it was I knew it was necessary in some moments, but I did not like it. I didn't like you. I didn't like them kids. I didn't like it.
People probably like, oh my Lord, he
I
didn't like
didn't.
his family.
I didn't because I felt like the sacrifices that I would make into doing what I was doing, that it was an investment and then I needed to see a return.
Hmm.
And that's not what sacrifice is. So
Right.
I really thought that if I'm doing all this, then I need them to do this. And when they didn't do it, it'll upset me. But being the father and the husband of a family, when you see stuff that needs to be done, you know, it just needs to happen because it betters your family.
Hmm.
So that's when I was immature. Where I am now, the maturity of it is sacrifice is such a big element and characteristic of a marriage, because when you sacrifice, it draws the person closer. It strengthens the trust. It strengthens the relationship, the intimacy. It strengthens so many different things, and a lot of relationship is strengthened by sacrifice.
Hmm.
So now, being mature where I am now, once I matured, sacrificing sacrificing now is not something that I look at investing and getting a return. Now I look at it because it's the leader in me. I sacrifice because the legacy has to be born. It has to be birthed. I sacrifice because the culture of my family has to be a certain way. I sacrifice because building relationships with my daughters and imparting to them to what they need to be able to have a relationship with their husbands now. So it's completely different. So in a way, when you sacrifice, you still get a return, but I don't call it that. I say it's a manifestation. So what I do, my sacrifice is a seed that I sow, and then I see it manifest. So what happens in my kids' life that makes their relationship better is not for me, it's for them.
Hmm.
So I get joy out of knowing that what the sacrifice that has happened has made them better and has pour and then overpour into their husband and
Hmm.
they children and their family,
Hmm.
and even their in-laws. So it's the sacrifice is huge. Most of y'all who watch the podcast, y'all already know we talk about being selfless.
Hmm.
So selfless is already a sacrifice. Um, it's just a layer of it. But the core of being selfless is sacrificing. You doing something for somebody else that you get no reward for.
Hmm.
That's what it is. You doing it to better someone else's life, moment, whatever it is, but do not receive nothing, expect nothing in return. That's
Yeah.
exactly what Jesus did when he died on the cross. He died for us to give us a freedom, to make us better with nothing in return.
Yeah.
Nothing in return. Because most of us, he died for, and we wasn't even living. We wasn't even produced. But he knew what he had to do. And that's a true sacrifice. You sacrifice and want nothing in return.
Yeah.
Expect nothing in return. And that's what it is. So,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna lie. I told Deidre, I didn't like them. My fam, I ain't like Deidre for a long time.
I
Them
was gonna say, well,
kids.
it wasn't the whole time, boo.
No, it wasn't the whole time.
There were
I
moments.
loved her. I love my wife and my children very, very much, and I think that's what fueled the sacrifice. Now, it
But it
when I
was
tell
rough
you,
sometimes.
I was so hot, so many different times, and thought about leaving. I was like,
Well, you
I
actually did leave several
Jesus,
times.
I did not ask for this. This is not the promise. This is
Well,
not
I
the
didn't,
promise.
make you have those kids and stay with me and all this stuff.
You use you use your
What?
body
Did I really?
to pull me in,
Did I really?
and then when you got me in your claws,
My webs of
yeah,
desires.
I
Oh,
couldn't get out. I was like, help, help! I'm too deep in,
oh, I'm
help!
so sick of
And then
you.
when I got out, I looked and I had all these kids. And I was
You weren't ready, and I realized that. I think to a certain extent I wasn't either, but I dealt with those times and those feelings when I had them, as best as I knew how. But I think there was a time when I was like, this, like, wait, I don't think I want to do this. Because it became overwhelming,
like, yeah, if you,
and it was for me at that point. I was like, this. I think sometimes I was like, maybe this is just too much of, you know, um, of course, nobody forced this on us, but it was just in my
it was a
immaturity.
lot.
Yeah, just thinking about the
It was a
fact
lot.
that I don't want to do this. I want to go to school, and I wanted to go to school, and I wanted to do these things and wanted to do that things.
Yeah,
But like you said, it came from a place of, once we knew better, we did better. And we realized that, yeah, absolutely. I couldn't, there were times when I may have wanted to go out and buy get my hair done versus, buying, you know, the little bit of groceries, or it was like,
yeah.
okay, do I really have to, the kids needed something, I needed something, or wanted something, or whatever. But I remember, and I don't even know if she's alive still. It was a neighbor that we had when we moved to Savannah, and this was in um 98, maybe 97. Um, and she was an older lady, so she seasoned her kids, grown grandkids, older grandkids. And the one thing that she told me, she was like, I see you, and you're a good mother. And she was like, she gave me the whole example of when she was raising her kids, there was a lot that she didn't have. And she was like, but I made sure that they stuff was pressed and they looked nice. And she said, I just had a few dresses that I kind of interchange,
Yeah.
wore one this day, just kind of rotated them, and she said, but it was all worth it. She said the sacrifice will be worth it, that you're actually putting them before yourself. Because in all actuality, all mothers don't do that. Just, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But she told me that, she said the sacrifices that you're making for your girls, she said, I can tell by how they behave, how y'all are raising them, just from talking to them. And because she would get them after school if I
Who
was
you talking
late
about?
running from school, from class or whatever, she would let them come to her house and she would give them a snack. Um, I cannot remember her name.
Well,
I
you got to
remember her
remember that
face.
then.
Yeah, when you turned on our street, you actually got to their house before you got to our house.
Where we was living at?
On the east side, on Mosley Street. It was her and her husband. I cannot remember for the life of
It
me. I
was our
can't.
next door neighbor.
Uh-huh. I
Okay, I
cannot
do
remember her
remember.
name. Yep, I remember her
I do
face.
remember
She was
that.
a retired nurse. And she was right. She was right. When we like we didn't do everything right, but we did the best that we knew how to do. When we learned better, we did better.
Yeah.
And so that's what we gave, our kids. And she was like, the sacrifices, I see you making, yeah. She said they'll all be worth it. And so we see that now, because it did matter. When I was telling you about a couple different things that I was reading. that I share with you. It says, sacrifice is the willingness to set aside our desires for a time in order to be in service for another is is a characteristic of a giving human being. That willingness to sacrifice in relationship shows a deeper level of care and commitment
Yeah.
to your spouse. It builds character, intimacy, and trust in your marriage. And I think for me, like I said, earlier on, I think we both had our kind of our struggles with it.
Yeah.
Um, but because we have learned to do it, and once I think, once we really got in this thing and knew that we were for each other and we were truly on the same team and we were working towards um, a goal, then it became easier and easier for us.
Yeah. I so here's what I believe that couples struggle with. So the sacrifice part of it, I believe couples struggle with it. Um, because sacrificing, just like Dita said, it's a deeper level of it's a deeper level of service to someone, expecting nothing in return.
Hmm.
Putting your stuff aside to do it. And when you're in a relationship, when you're in a marriage, that's almost like the fabric of what it is. Because when your spouse can't do something, or
Hmm.
they missing something or whatever, you step in and you fill it in, and vice versa. So it's almost like the marriage, the relationship is already built to pull sacrifice out.
Out of you.
Now, couples who have issues with it, when they get to a place, that's when you have the people say, just like I said earlier, what I used to say, I'm doing a lot of sacrificing, I'm investing, I ain't getting no return back. So some spouses, they literally take that to heart. So if I'm doing all this and you're not doing nothing, so now I'm gonna do my thing and you just do your thing type stuff. But if you literally stay in it and stay in the sacrifice, it will grow. It will evolve, and it will actually change some things. But
Absolutely.
most couples, they don't want to sacrifice. If I do this, then what I'm getting type stuff. And that's not what marriage is. It's not. Anybody who's been in marriage and been in it for a long time is sacrifices after sacrifice. It's different levels, different seasons, different, it's so now the sacrifices that me and Deidre do, it's our lifestyle. So it don't even feel like a sacrifice. It's almost like it's almost like a well played basketball game. So, and what I mean by that is, you know, back in the day when you saw a team play and they was on the same rhythm, the same movement, the passes, they do what they have to do to get to the end
They were
goal.
unified.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so it didn't matter if one player scored 10 points or 20 points or got it didn't matter. It was everybody working for the common goal. So that's where me and my wife is at now. We're a team. So if I'm getting ready to shoot the ball, or if I'm getting ready to cross over, whatever, and I see I'm being double teamed, or I'm seeing somebody go block my shot, I'm passing it to my wife, and then she'll take care of it. So, and I say that in essence is to, if I got something and I can do it, but I'm overwhelmed, I got a helpmate so I can put it in her I can give it to her, she can take care of it, and then I don't even have to think about it no more. Or vice versa. If she's overwhelmed and she got something, she can give it to me, and then I'll take care of it. All that's called sacrificing. Because when if you think about it, when you have a day planned and somebody interrupts your day and needing some help with something, you have to adjust to be able to do that. And I say that all the time with even with the girls. If they need us, today, for something, we have to adjust, and it's our decision to do it,
Mhm.
but we'll have to adjust. Most of them, they don't come to us and ask for anything. They give us time to do it, like a day or two or whatever the case may be, for us to help them. But there are times where they have emergencies,
Mhm.
and then we just need to adjust, and that's what we gonna do.
And we shift.
Yeah,
It could be sacrificing a date night.
yeah. It could be sacrificing a night of sleep in our bed. It could be
Right.
sacrificing,
Yeah.
whatever it is. But that's the fabric.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
a strong characteristic and fabric of a relationship. If I did not know my wife would sacrifice for me in the things that I know, and even the things that I didn't know she sacrificed, just to make me better, a situation better, a moment better, it means everything. It means everything. That means she took shots that was aimed for me that I didn't even have to feel, or vice versa. Take shots, and I'm built for that for my family. So I take shots, I take bullets, I do all that stuff, so they don't have to deal with it. I hold the enemy off while they run around and do whatever. So the sacrifice, it's a part of a relationship, man. And everything is a part of a relationship. Even with our parents, even though our parents always say they don't want to bother us, but you know, we will adjust. We do what we have to do, to make that. It should be no relationship ever that you don't sacrifice, whether it's a big percentage or not. It's sacrifice in relationships, real authentic relationships.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. One of the things that I was reading about, it says sacrificing for your spouse can be particularly painful to do, especially when frequently you may not be on the receiving end of it, or if your hearts are not united, like we
yeah,
I mentioned earlier. Um, this was something else that we talked about, like Christ, sacrificed His life for each one of us, and so we're called in our marriage to sacrifice through little acts each day, because there can be opportunities. Each day. Another thing that when I was reading this, it says sacrifice literally means to make holy. It says, with each sacrificial act done in love for our spouse, we not only personally grow in holiness, but we cultivate holiness in our marriage and in our family.
that's good.
And I think that
That's so good.
without even maybe knowing that or reading this like that, I think that that's what we've done. And because we do that, and because we if one of the girls, or if we bring something to the table, to the group message, um or if we say we need everybody to get on FaceTime right now because there's something going on,
Yeah,
and we need to do this, that, or the other, or we need something to happen, we show up for each other like that, and
yeah,
we are willing to sacrifice,
yeah,
because we realize, because like we both said, when we knew better and when we matured in it and we truly became unified, we saw, like you said, that was the very fabric of our relationship and our family.
yeah,
um and so that's what we gave to them,
yeah,
and so now it's a no-brainer. you know
yeah,
we figure it out. We we sacrifice. If I got to do one thing and then you do another, and one of the other girls say, well, I can do so and so and
yeah,
so, this is what we're doing. And of course it's not, because we are flesh. We might have our moments, man, I was trying to sleep.
yeah.
You know what I'm
And it
saying? Or
happens.
yeah, but at
That
the end of the
happens.
day, it's important.
Yeah,
That's important.
that happens. I think where where the disconnect can probably come from this, it will be people who take advantage of the sacrifice.
Right. And
So
we talking about people like the spouse, each one of the
yeah.
spouses in the marriage.
So if you
Yeah.
know your husband would do anything for you and will go above and beyond, and you just pile on to his plate more and more and more, not, you know, taking responsibility for some of this stuff
Mhm.
and actually trying to work as a
Mhm.
team, then that can become a cancer, because at some point in time, if your husband is sacrificing and doing all this stuff and doing it, and then at some point in time, years and years go by, now you have conditioned yourself to being lazy,
Yep.
and at some point in time, the husband will, he would, I mean, he will, it will come, he will figure it out.
Right.
And then he will feel, well, I ain't gonna say figure it out, he will feel like he's not being appreciated. He will feel like that's what can happen. So the sacrifice has to come from both spouses, the husband and the
Right.
wife.
Right.
And that's when, you know, you have to really fill in when you know your spouse is. So one of the things that me and Deidre always do is when it comes a time to where I have been doing a lot of stuff and working and traveling and doing all these things, and it gets to a point to where I'm very, very tired to where she can see it on me, then she automatically kicks in the sacrifice. So she takes stuff off my plate, not me not asking. She just takes it off my plate. And then she makes certain areas in my life better to where I don't have to do certain things, and vice versa. So it's not even me saying anything or Deidre saying anything. We are in tune with each other, so we can see it on us, each other. We can feel it, all that. So it's not. It used to be a conversation we would have. What's wrong? What's going on? Now it's just action.
Yeah.
So if I see it on Deidre, if I see she's tired, if I see certain things, don't worry about dinner, baby. I'll take care of that. Hey, go ahead and take you a bath, or go ahead and take you a shower. Jump in the bed. I'll take care of this. I do this. I do this, and vice versa. That's just what it is. And sometimes your spouse, and see, this is the thing. Sometimes your spouse only need for you to do that for a moment, so they
Yeah.
can
That's base.
reset,
Yeah.
and then they
Yeah.
can get back on, and now both of us on the front line again. It happens. We humans.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, it can't be, well, I work too, and I'm tired too, and you act like you the only one tired, and you this and that. But if you got a little bit more in your tank than your spouse do, then take some more stuff off a plate or his plate, and do it and take care of it. Give him or her a moment to reset and restore, refresh, and then both of y'all back on the front line again. I mean, it is what it is, but that's sacrifice,
Yeah.
and it happens on a daily basis
Yeah.
in a marriage, in your relationship, in your marriage. The need for sacrifice always comes up, always through it's a daily thing. So it's when I tell you it's a main artery of a relationship. It's not even a That's not even me downplaying it. It
Yeah.
is.
I'm gonna stick this in because you said that this says, and I got this information, y'all, from a couple different articles that I read. I think it was marriage.org, and I think I got some stuff I'll focus on the family because I liked what these articles were saying. It says because Johnny said that as far as it can happen like a day to day
Yeah.
thing. It says there are moments when you sacrifice your desire to have or do something out of love for your beloved, and then sometimes just getting through the day-to-day responsibilities without complaining is a sacrifice.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah, so that's what that's what when you said that, it made me think of that. It says the reality though is this a It says the reality though is difficult to do sometimes. It takes persistent prayer, vision, and a huge dose of patience to live. I lost my place. Oh, it takes persistent prayer, vision, and a huge dose of patience to live marriage and your family life with passion, purpose, and a sacrificial heart.
Mm. Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
Look, marriage is not for
Yeah.
lightweights at all.
Yeah.
You gotta, when you get married, you gotta be willing to evolve, to change, to sacrifice, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they're all, and let me tell you, all these places are uncomfortable places to be
Right.
until you get it here in your mind that marriage is a lifestyle,
Hmm.
it's a
And
relationship.
here,
Yeah.
I'm
So
touching my heart.
one of the things, one of the things you said earlier, you said until I really knew your heart, you know, we got through stuff. Here's the thing: I believe that you knew my heart before I matured into it. What we usually do is we fall in love with someone's heart, but we have to wait for the mind and the flesh part of them to mature.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, and if a person is not willing to grow up, mature, change, then what happens is they have a good heart, but they fighting against it. So it's more than just loving a person for their heart. It has to be all the parts. So although Deidre saw my heart when we met, when we got married, the rest of me had to catch up.
Hmm.
So you
I
was
get you.
patient enough to wait till the rest of me caught up.
Till you matured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
till I
Till you grew up.
matured into my heart. So what God created me to be and what He placed in me in my heart, the spirit know the spirit, so you knew that part. But the rest of me had to catch up.
Yeah.
So yeah, so who in y'all relationship right now, which one of y'all have great hearts, great attentions, but still are immature and waiting for your spouse to catch up to who they really are? That's a real thing.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. We would not be able to sit here today and tell y'all all the stuff that we tell y'all if we did not accept the change and matured. We just wouldn't. We just wouldn't. And now that we live the life that we live, and when I say that is being married and living this marriage thing out on a daily basis and being who we are and uplifting each other and empowering each other and iron sharpens iron, all these different things. Once we got that, then we become better people. We not only get closer, the intimacy doesn't only go deeper, and it's just so much stuff. It's a depth to this that we probably would never get to the bottom of,
Hmm.
but we keep doing it and it strengthens everything.
Yeah.
And until you know the characteristics to this to make it work, then you just will never understand.
Yeah.
So once we got the clarity about this and we started moving forward to that and we started accepting and receiving, and then once we started accepting and receiving, then the capacity grew for us to take on more and understand. So all these things are ingredients to make not only you a better person, but your marriage better and stronger.
Yeah.
Marriage is not easy, by no means necessary. It changes, and unless you get an understanding, a clarity of what this really is, because like I said before, this is a one-way journey. And when I say that, I mean that with everything in me. When you get married in your life, it's a one-way journey, because once you pass some of these things, you can't go back. I can't go back to 25.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go back to 35. I
Mm-hmm.
can't go back to 49.
Right.
So I mean, once you pass it, you gone by it. So you have to accept where you are and
Yeah.
embrace that, and then y'all build and continue to build together going forward. So that means things change. That means, you know, stuff you used to eat, you don't can't eat no more because your stomach ain't right or whatever. You know, you used to drink whole milk, by the gallon. Now you got to drink
Almond
lactose
milk or
free, and
lactated
yeah.
free
So
milk.
it's just a lot of stuff. Your
Yeah.
body go through changes, your mind go through changes. It's so much stuff that go through changes that you just continue to move forward. You adjust with each other, and then you keep moving.
Yeah.
That's how you have to do. And
Yeah.
these are things that we've heard about. We might have seen in our families, and our moms and dads, and as you know, they got they got older, but
We saw them
experience it,
sacrifice.
yeah, but experience it for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. This premenopausal thing, this something I don't understand. My wife don't understand it. So it's I'm telling you, but it's something that it's happened. It's a part of what got to happen. So as we go through it, we embrace it as much as we possibly can.
Well, I ain't embracing nothing that got to do
And,
with this.
you know, so it is what it is. It is what it is. And, we move forward. But y'all sacrifice, when I tell you it's a main artery of what a relationship is,
Mm-hmm.
there's not a person, there's not a couple that's been living life and has a strong relationship that can't tell you they did it without sacrificing.
Right.
There's not one. And what usually happens is when a husband and wife are not on the same page, and when they seem to get to the place where they want a divorce and all these things, it's because the sacrifice. They're not one. They're not sacrificing.
Mm-hmm.
One is not sacrificing for the other, and they wanting something in return, like right now, and they don't understand the depth of it. Like I said, I had to sacrifice for my entire family, and then once once I realized that God built me as a man of my home and as a leader,
Mm-hmm.
He built me for this. So what I sacrifice, it goes deeper than getting something in return. It gives not only my wife and my family, it gives them understanding. It gives them a sense of gratitude, humbleness. It gives them a culture and a direction to actually follow and build their stuff from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I can go on for I don't know how long about sacrifice, but once Deidre brought it up, and then she said that's what she think we need to sacrifice. It's a selfless
We need to talk
thing,
about.
huh?
You said that's what we need to talk about.
No,
That's what I said.
you said that's what we need to talk about.
Right.
Yeah,
You said when Deidre brought it up that that's what we need to sacrifice.
that's what we need to talk about.
That's what we need to sacrifice to.
Yeah. So I just started thinking a
Yeah.
lot, and even thinking about it and talking about the subject, I just never knew how big sacrifice was a huge part of an element of your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It says true
Yeah.
love requires sacrifice. There's no greater love this side of heaven than the exchange of authentic love in the sacrament of marriage. We don't have to look far for occasions to showcase genuine love in our marriage. We're called to love freely and sacrifice for our spouse sincerely.
Yeah.
The supernatural call to love like Christ can only come through the genuineness of basic human relationships. And it's also is just saying, maybe just husbands, this is for you, wives, this is for you as well. Consider, um, think about picking one way or a couple ways that you can um, sacrifice for your spouse. And you don't have to go broadcasting it and I
No.
want you to know that I'm about to sacrifice for you. Well, then that doesn't make me feel,
Yeah.
very good at all.
And don't sacrifice and then keep a
Yeah.
list of stuff that
Yeah.
you sacrifice. Don't do
So you
that.
can go back
That's
and
petty.
refer to it.
Yeah, that's petty. Well,
Yeah.
you know,
I sacrificed and I
back in
worked
January.
4 jobs while you was going to school and now
Yeah.
you really?
But I really think when when God created marriage and he did the blueprint for it to be exactly how God loves the church,
Mm-hmm.
all this was put in it.
Yep.
How can you understand the sacrifice that Jesus did by coming here, dying on the cross before we were even thought about to give us a some type of freedom? How can you even understand that with a God you have never seen, but unless you do the sacrifice with the closest thing that you have is your spouse, with the blueprint to
Of how Christ
how
loved the
Christ
church
loves the
and
church. Yeah,
yeah,
how can
loves and
how can
lead
you
led.
you can
Yeah.
never get a complete understanding of it, but you can get it.
Mm-hmm.
You can understand it. It'll give you clarity. It will give you clarity
Mm-hmm.
because what God did for us will never be able to repay him for.
Yeah.
Even if he was to ask us to
Ever.
repay, it's nothing we can do that. But we can't be out here taking it for granted and saying we got all these chances and you go do it next year and you go make the decisions next year. You just can't do that. And that's how we kind of handle our situations with our marriage. You can't you can't do it next year. The change need to be now. For the relationship to get better, you have to do better now. You learn better. Get the right tools, be equipped, read, get help, therapy, whatever it is, but make it better.
Yeah.
Make it better. And it takes the husband and the wife to do that. So I'm done.
Amen. I'm done as well.
Okay. So I want to tell you, thank you for sacrificing from having the children to stand with my crazy behind when you probably should have left several times. Um, thank you. Thank you for waiting and being patient for me to catch up. Because you've always said it's potential in that boy right there. There's potential in that boy. Now she give the advice. Don't none of y'all try to get married for potential.
Don't do it.
Not in
Don't do it.
2022.
Don't do it.
Don't you do it. But she saw something in me in my heart, and then I knew she was my wife. I knew you was my wife, and I told you that.
Mm.
So there was a connection always there, but there still had to be a maturity that happened and a growth that happened and evolving
Absolutely.
that happened.
And it's still happening
So
for
yeah,
both of us. So
but now it makes it much sweeter and more powerful because we got clarity.
hmm
We got clarity. So when it gets tough or when it gets rough or when it gets, you know, we good because we know what we doing. We know what we building.
yeah.
So the clarity part is definitely there, but the sacrifice has to happen. It just has to.
But I think at this point we are sacrificed. Well, before I say that, let me say that's why I always tell you just out of the blue, sometimes I'll be like, thank you, babe. And so from my heart, that means thank you for all that you do. And I tell you that. I try to remind myself to tell you that, thank you for staying. Thank you for, putting up with my crazy as well. Thank you for your sacrificing because I know you wanted to be in somebody's kitchen. However, it's not too late. You can be in our kitchen. Um, but yeah, thank you for your sacrifices daily
Yeah.
because I know I see them. I experienced them. I'm on the other end of that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I try my best to do whatever it is that I can, um, when those sacrifices are needed. It's not hard for me to do that.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that's vice versa as well. But what I was getting ready to say, now we are experiencing the sacrifices of, I'd say, some things that we want to do now, want to move on now, but we know that we are sacrificing for a greater goal,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Coming on here and doing this podcast sometimes is a woo, because we be tired. However,
Yeah.
we know we'll sacrifice going to bed early or a weekend to do a media, day or media weekend or um, whatever it is.
Or working all day and coming
Yeah,
home and doing counseling sessions with
yeah,
a
absolutely.
couple and saying that we just it'll be an
It's
hour
gonna be an hour and a
and
half. We
we going to take
not
a
going
shower.
over.
We not. But when we have a session with a couple and they get a breakthrough, we can't let up until it's all the way done.
Yeah,
And we understand that because once an enlightenment happens in a relationship and they get it and it's scary and it's exciting and all these things at one time, we've been there.
yeah,
So the breakthrough has to happen and we have to help them walk all the way through it. It just has to happen
yeah,
because it's not a dream. It's just not goosebumps. This is real. So once you get through it, then it's like a deep breath and like, yeah, we can do this.
and this is
We can do
purpose
it.
for us. So
Yeah.
it's for a
Yeah.
greater good. And in all
All
of
right.
this, God gets glory. So,
Every last bit of it.
amen.
Even these podcasts that
Podcast.
podcasts. I can say
Cast, not
podcasts.
Cassis. Um, so a quick reminder, guys, if Moments with the Mobleys, myself and Mr. Johnny, Deb and Joey, us, Moments with MWTM, has helped you in any way in your relationship from listening to any of our podcasts, any of the funny reels, any of the serious reels, anything, please remember, or this is your reminder to go subscribe, like, share our pages. On YouTube, you can hit the button so it can notify you when we release new stuff. And just keep following us. We appreciate you all. Also, if you're new, and this is the first time you're watching, then please go and subscribe to our Mob Stars page on Facebook as well as our Patreon. The links are in the description below as well.
Yeah.
And if you have not purchased your tickets for date night for married couples, date night is November 12th at Chocolate Martini Bar. The information is on the website, momentswiththemobleys.com. Make sure that you go get your tickets. There's information. The flyer is on our social media as well. You can purchase your tickets again on momentswiththemobleys.com. 35 a couple. I think it's like 35.88 PayPal fees or something like that. But we're still looking to see you. We see all those people who have purchased their tickets, and we are excited to see you. Some of them, a good bit of them, are first timers.
Yeah.
So I'm even more excited about that. Now, I mean, y'all, what you call them, old heads. We happy to y'all come on back too. And so that's it.
I'll repeat. People who come back and
Yeah,
they've hit every date night and anything we put out.
we
We really
appreciate y'all.
appreciate y'all.
Absolutely.
So keep coming. And I'm gonna say this: if this
Excuse
podcast
me.
was not a good one for you and you didn't like it, we got 147 of them. Go find one of them that you like.
You're gonna
And
love
if you
all
don't,
of them.
and if you don't like those, we'll be back next Saturday. Maybe you'll like that.
Y'all gonna like it.
This has been your man, Johnny Mobley Jr.
I'm his wife, Deirdra.
This has been Moments with the Mobleys.
We're an ordinary couple with extraordinary purpose.
I kind of.
It's okay. Peace out.
Y'all know what we're talking about.
And night night, and peace out. And night night, and peace out. Angle.
What was that?
I don't know.